Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It's 12 o'clock on a Sunday, which means it's time for a Q&A. This is where I take all the questions that you've asked over the course of the week and I answer them to the best of my ability. Guys, this whole segment lives and dies by how good the questions are, so please do not hold back. Ask as many questions as you want to. I promise there is absolutely nothing off the table. There's been some great questions this week. I've just skimmed them. Just to remind you, I don't actually kind of read the questions before jumping on camera. I like to give you my spontaneous kind of reply to any questions, but I do take sometimes questions that I think are really, really good, and I'll create a video out of them, and you'll see that video at some point down the line. So all questions are really, really welcome. All questions are really, really good. Don't forget, if you haven't actually what I'm trying to say, what I'm trying to say is, if you haven't actually had your question answered, please ask it again. Sometimes I miss the questions, and make sure that you leave any questions that you want to have answered in this particular video, because if they're all over the channel, sometimes I can see them, but a lot of the time I can't. So with that all out the way, super exciting, let's get into this week's questions. Okay, so the first question is by Jake Berg. And Jake Berg says, "Hey Craig, love the magic tattoos." Thank you, man. "I've always wanted a reveal tattoo for the longest time. I was wondering which tattoos you find yourself using the most and which you find using the least. Cheers." Great question. I've got loads of tattoos on my arms, and each one is designed to do a magic trick. I have the idea for the trick, and then I go and see Kat, who then does the tattoos for me. Kat is the lead assistant in my illusion show. And she's been working with me for probably the best part of a decade. But she also runs her own company. She's a phenomenal tattoo artist. She runs Catapult Inc. Go check them out on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and YouTube and all those places. So Catapult Inc. is brilliant, and she designs all of my tattoos. And I have this random idea for a tattoo. And then she makes it for me. So start with the least. I had a really great idea for a tattoo. At least I thought it was a really great idea. And I rarely use it, to be honest. And it's this one here, this purple ball on my wrist, which is absolutely the same size and shape as my Bond Lee manipulation multiplying balls. Because my idea was that I'd be walking out and about and I'd point out this thing here, I'd have one of the balls in palm, and I'd drop it onto here and knock it up in the air and catch it, and it would look like a ball would just come out of my wrist, and every single time it came out of my wrist, and I'd do this multiplying balls routine, and every single one of the balls as they're multiplying comes out from this section here. And I practiced it and I got it down looking good and it looked great. It's just something I've never really done in the real world, to be honest. I do multiplying balls. I've got a great multiplying balls routine that I do. Parlor, I've done it as a front and cloth piece in an illusion show before. I used to do it a lot on my virtual shows, and it actually works really well for kid shows as well. But it's not, you don't want to carry around all of the balls and the shells for walk around and close up. And a lot of the time when I'm using my tattoos, it is in a walk around close up situation. So because of that, I've never really used that, even though I've got a great routine for it. The two that I use the most, or the three that I use the most, is this. So this here is just a fan of 5 cards, and I use that in so many different ways. Sometimes I'll just have people pick 5 cards, and I'll do a Vernon strip out edition substitute transfer thing, and then I'll do a false mix, and the 5 cards they pick are the same 5 cards in the same order as on here. Or the other thing I'll do is a multiple selection where I have 5 cards picked, I find the 5 cards, and then there's a kicker. I say, now you could have picked any 5 cards, you could have picked the, I couldn't have known what order you were going to pick them in, but I did. And I have a line, 2.5 years ago, I made a permanent prediction that's been staring you in the face the whole time. Boom. And then I have a spectator holding the cards here, and I show my arm. When I'm at a gig, especially a wedding gig, the photographer always wants to take pictures of that moment. So I use that an awful lot. I also use this Rubik's Cube an awful lot because every single time I do my Rubik's Cube routine, I open with this as a cube matching effect. And I've got this really cool thing that I've worked on with Lloyd using a tattoo of a Rubik's Cube and a photo on your phone of a Rubik's Cube, which looks incredible. It's absolutely incredible, and it's my new favorite Rubik's Cube routine because it's this crazy matchup, and all you need is your phone and a tattoo on your arm. So those are the two that I do the most. Impromptu, I tend to use this one the most, this tic-tac-toe board, because this is actually the Bond Lee, I'm a big Bond Lee fan. This is the Bond Lee tic-tac-toe prediction, which I do on stage. And I put it on here as well. I put it on my wrist because what's nice is where it is, I can actually display it any way that I want to, so it works great. And I use this impromptu an awful lot. Like if I'm out and about, I'll just grab a napkin, grab a pen, do a tic-tac-toe thing, and I've predicted it from the beginning, which is just a really cool moment, to be perfectly honest. So those are the three that I tend to use the most. I do use all the others as well, but every single gig I'm going to be using this one and this one, and sometimes in the same set I'll use this one and this one. So hopefully that answers your questions. Although I am just getting a new tattoo next week. It's going to be here, and it's going to be for a new routine which I'll be sharing with you guys, which is great. I want to try and by the beginning of next year to get this sleeve finished with a whole bunch of other revelations. But there you go. Hopefully that answers your question. Okay, so the next question is Sean Goff. I think I pronounced that correctly. Hey Sean, how you doing? He says, hey Craig, great content. Absolutely loves these. Thank you very much, Sean. One question, is Netrix still launching at the end of November? Short answer, no. Long answer, no. We've filmed all the content now, so everything is filmed. Not only have we filmed all the content, we've got almost a year's worth of content moving forward. Because one thing that we want to do with Netrix is we want to have it so that obviously there's going to be a ton of stuff on launch. So on launch, we're going to have 100 different routines from different creators. We're going to have the most comprehensive slight section ever. One of the things that's caused the delay is the slight section. I just kept saying to Luke, we need to add this slight, we need to add this slight, we need to add this slight. There's got to be about 300 slights. And we decided to take it so that it would work for beginners as well. So we've got this whole concept in there of, hey, if you're a beginner to cards, this is the section you want to look at first. And we talk about holding a deck and the how you hold a deck and so on and so forth, and how to do a simple cut, how to do a simple shuffle. And it's the same with coins. So there's a section on coins. The first section on sleights with coins is, okay, this is how to hold a coin. This is a finger palm. This is a classic palm. This is a thumb palm. So we've got basic all the way up to super advanced sleights in every single genre. And then they're all linked into the different routines. So that's took a long time to put together. And then all the automation behind the scenes to make it run automatically, that's taken a long time to put together as well. But that's all done. We've also got, as I say, a ton of content filmed, because what we want to do is every fortnight or week, we haven't decided yet, but we want to, because one thing that I've seen from other things that do, obviously there's things like Magic Stream out there, and one thing that I've noticed, and I've listened to people, I've looked on the internet, is they don't like that it's updated sporadically, right? So it's like, oh, when's there going to be a new update? Is there going to be a new update here? When is a new product going to be released, or a new video, or whatever it may be? Well, we're aiming to have, I don't know how many, it's probably going to be, I don't know, about 4 or 5 new tricks a week. It might be sort of 6 or 7 a fortnight. I don't know. We're still working on it. But it's going to be a schedule like Magic TV. So every week or every fortnight, you're going to know that there's going to be a whole bunch of new routines going up there, new sleights going up there, new theory going up there, new marketing advice going up there. There's new stuff going on there constantly, and subscribers will get an email about it a few days beforehand going, hey, this is what's going up on Netrix on Monday. We've got this, here's the trailer. We've got this, here's the trailer. We've got this, here's the trailer. So all that's done as well. What we're doing right now is the back end. So what we're doing right now is we're just interfacing Netrix itself with the front facing platform, because we've got 2 or 3 platforms that we're kind of automating together. We're also using this really complicated emailing system called Infusionsoft that I use in all my other businesses, which is going to allow us to email people about the different courses that are coming up, but also tell people about courses that they might have missed. We're also putting in there a whole bunch of other really fun stuff that we weren't going to put in, and we have, and it's taken a bit of time. So we're almost at beta. In fact, I'm filming this on Wednesday. Obviously it's Sunday now. I'm filming this on Wednesday. Me and Luke are hoping that by Friday it's going to go into beta, if not by Monday at the latest. It's not going to be in beta for long. It's going to be in beta for maybe a week or two, and then it's going to launch. We're hoping that it's going to launch the first or second week of December. We might leave it until January. I don't know. We might just like send some review copies out and give people access to it before Christmas, and then maybe launch it. Or the other thing me and Luke have talked about is launching on Christmas Day. Don't know. I think it's going to be pretty much ready to launch at the beginning of December. So I'd love to know what you guys think. And is there anything you'd like us to include in there that we haven't included? So we've got, as I say, slight sections. We've got like all the different routines by some amazing creators. We've got all of the marketing videos, of which we're uploading more all the time. We've got everything from beginners to experts. Every course has got like slights. It's got difficulty ratings. All of the routines link into the slight section. So if you look at a routine and it needs an Elmsley count, it links over to the tutorial for the Elmsley count, for example. Each trick has got its own landing page, its own trailer, its own ad copy. There's discussion forums for each individual trick, so you can discuss it with other people that are learning that trick. That you can leave reviews for each individual trick to help other people. We've also put together this beginner's guide, so it's kind of like a how-to course to get from this level to this level and this level to this level, and how to upskill yourself. We've got advice on how to become a professional magician in there. We've got sit-down session. Oh, the sit-down sessions with Steve Della are just brilliant. Me and Steve sit down. We're launching with 3 of them, but we're going to upload a new one every month because they take a long time to do. We've just filmed one with Steve yesterday where me and Steve sit down and Steve talks about competitions and how to win competitions, because Steve's won like 25 magic competitions through his career, and off the back of that he's been invited to perform at conventions all over the world. He's been invited to go to 4F. Like, competitions are Steve's thing, and he spills his guts about it. I mean, we break everything down. These sit-down sessions are some of my favorite things on Netrix, and you're just getting that as part of the package. So, there's a lot on there, but if there's something you think we've missed that you'd like to see on there, please let me know. As you can probably tell, I'm super excited. But the most important thing from our point of view is that we deliver what we say. And that's why I think people like Magic TV, because we're going to deliver what we say. Even though it's an insane schedule, we stick to it. There's going to be a 5x5 on a Monday. Every day there's going to be a Magic Live and a Shorts and everything. If we say we're going to do something, we're going to do it. Even when I had COVID, I was still filming content for this channel. Well, it's going to be the same with Netrix. We want to let people know that if we say we're going to do something, we're going to do it, which is why the schedule of uploads is so important to us, because it is my promise and my team's promise to everybody who subscribes to Netrix. I don't want this to be a little membership site where one new trick goes up every single month. I want it to be the ultimate resource, almost like an online encyclopedia. So no matter what level you're at, you're going to be able to get what you want out the platform, and just have a lot of fun learning lots of really cool magic as well. So there you go. Hopefully that answers your question, Sean. Thanks for asking it. I'll keep you updated on Magic TV, but it's coming very, very soon. Right, the next question is from the Fess. Hey, Fess. And he says, hey, Craig, been looking at a few magic props recently, and the gift stood out to me, only to come across your Nothing But the Truth series, and what you talk about on there is really interesting. Are you planning on coming back to the series after 4 years, or sticking to Magic TV? Thanks, Dan. Nothing But the Truth was something that I did about 4 or 5 years ago. I think it was probably longer than that now. It was about 4.5, 5 years ago. And it was a series of videos where I was basically no frill, sitting in front of a camera, just reviewing products and talking about what was happening in the Magic community. And it was a little bit like Magic TV, but I didn't have an upload schedule. I kind of uploaded like once a week. I think I only did 7 episodes, and then it fizzled out. And the reason it fizzled out is because I just wasn't in the right place to put a YouTube channel together. I was very busy. I think at the time, Rylan was a lot like 3 or 4. Thea had just been born, or she was like 1 or 2. So I had very young children. I was running around the country performing. I was in the middle of building my businesses. And I think the reason I set it up is because I just kind of missed the Magic community and I wanted to kind of do something. But I realized very early on I wasn't going to be able to commit to that channel the time and effort it needed if I wanted to do something actually meaningful with it. And also I wasn't in the right place at the time either, because I was still very bitter towards the community. I was still very pissed off towards the community. So when I realized that, and I realized that it wasn't what I needed at the time, it wasn't what I wanted it to be, I stopped it. And it's still up there. You can search Nothing But The Truth, Craig Petty. I think there's like 7 reviews. I do review The Gift. I review a few other things as well. But it's just been left to die. Magic TV is what Nothing But The Truth could have been if I'd actually put 100% into it. So you're still getting honesty on this channel. And just to be clear, like I said to you in last week's Q&A, just because I'm not ranting doesn't mean I'm not going to call stuff out that I disagree with. I've got a video coming very, very soon, which would have been a rant, but instead I'm going to be talking about it in a very calm, collected manner. I'm not going to be swearing, I'm not going to be effing and blinding, but still the point is going to be got across. I'm still doing the honest trailers, I'm still giving products negative reviews if I don't like them. So a lot of the stuff, the honesty is still there on Magic TV. It's never going away. The only thing that went away was the effing and the blinding and that sort of thing. But in terms of Nothing But The Truth, there's no reason to bring it back because I have Magic TV, which is what Nothing But The Truth was, but it's an entire different vehicle, you know, because obviously we're doing so much with this channel. So hopefully that answers your question. It's not coming back, and really it never should have been launched. It was, you know, at the time, you know, it felt like the right thing to do, but very quickly I realized it wasn't. Okay, so the next question is from Warren Treadaway, and he says, "Hey Craig, great show. Thanks for answering my question. No problem. You mentioned the new 1914 wallet coming out, so I have one important question. Can you carry cash in that wallet without it affecting how it works? When I say does it carry cash, I'm not talking about a money clip, but an actual cash compartment." Yes, it does. Yes, it does. That's one of the reasons that I absolutely love this wallet. And to be completely clear, if you didn't get it from last week, I love this wallet. And I get nothing from D for promoting this. In fact, I haven't spoken to D, but there's a very good chance that I'm not even supposed to talk about it. I'm probably breaking every single 1914 rule. They're probably not going to want to work with me anymore, and they're going to kick me out on the curb, and I'm going to be sitting there in the gutter crying, looking at my 1914 creators pin badge. That's a distinct possibility that could be happening here, but you know, whatever. He hasn't actually said anything to me. One of the cool things about this wallet is that it does actually have several sections where you can carry cash, not with a money clip, but you actually can carry cash. There's several sections where you can have business cards as well. That's what's really cool about it. In fact, it's a peak device, as you would expect with Lewis Lavelle in 1914. It's also got a card to wallet built into it. It's got a very unique Himba principle built into it that I have never seen before. And that's one of the things that super excites me, because that principle also ties into some of the other principles in the wallet, which makes it incredible. But one of the things it does as a card to wallet, which is really cool, is when the card's loaded into the wallet, inside it's got this like see-through thing, where you'd keep like an ID or something like that, or I've put my Magic Circle membership card, don't you know? And you can open it and show that there, and there can be money in there, and you know, it's just the sort of thing that you can put money in and cards in and whatever. And then when you open it up to show the card in the wallet, it's loaded into that section, and they can reach in and take it out, and it's above the money. So it's kind of like, even as a magician, you kind of look at it. I remember when D first showed it to me, I was like, how does that load work? It doesn't make any sense. So there's loads of different places to actually keep money. It's very minimalist, but it actually works as a functioning wallet. I've been carrying it around as my functioning wallet, which is one of the reasons I love it so much. And it's Lewis's project, it's 1914's project, it's their thing. I'm just super excited that they've asked me to kind of jump on board and put a different couple of routines together for it, because honestly, the stuff that you can do with this, I've been doing at gigs a no palm card to wallet, which is just devious. It's a no palm card to wallet, right? Where you're not palming. I have to tell you this, you're not palming, right? You're not palming anything. You give them the wallet at the beginning, you have them pick a card, they sign it, and then it's in the wallet that they've been holding the very beginning. Now, obviously, there's a little something that happens as well, But I've never seen a technique like this before. I've never seen a principle like this before. It's one of the reasons. It's new, it's exciting, it's different. It's so cool. And I think I'm putting like three routines onto the project, and I can put like 35 because I've just been sitting here creating routines with this thing. I really have. I've now stopped doing, anybody who knows my material knows I love card in the box. I've stopped doing card in the box, and instead of actually using this wallet, because it is the perfect size to do card in the box, but I'm doing card in the wallet. And at the end, I can have it loaded into the... I couldn't talk to you so much about how amazing this wallet is, but I passionately don't want to get kicked off the 1914. So I'm not going to say any more, but Warren, honestly, I'm so glad I've seen this before release date because it's incredible. Okay, so the next question is by Magic Tricks with a Z. Thanks for answering my question, Craig. I've got another one for you, super exciting. Who is your favorite and most trustworthy magician? Maybe someone who just creates amazing stuff every time. Very good question. Very good question. There's a few people that spring to mind. Number one, I'm going to go with Lloyd Barnes. I think Lloyd is incredible. I have always been a massive fan of his work. Everything he does, it's weird because sometimes Lloyd will put something together that doesn't necessarily work for me, in that he doesn't come at it from a point of view of somebody who's out gigging, because Lloyd doesn't go out gigging. So sometimes he comes out with the most outlandish, weird, crazy ideas that would work in one particular environment but wouldn't necessarily work in a gigging environment, but it's still an amazing creation. But then he brings stuff out like Cognito that can absolutely work in the real world 100% and then some. And he does have this habit of being able to create really cool material that is just really cool, for want of a better word. I've been lucky enough to see some of the stuff that he's got coming out with Murphy's over the next 12 months. And some of the material he's got coming out will blow your mind. There is something coming out that will become a part of everyone's everyday carry. I guarantee you it's something that you're going to put on your keychain, that you're going to carry with you everywhere you go. And it is, and I'm not exaggerating, the best trick I have ever seen. It is something that I cannot wait to get my hands on. And I can't imagine how his brain thought this through. It is just simply genius. And it has probably about 30 or 40 applications. And you can literally just take it off your keychain, go into it anytime, anywhere. Just that one routine alone, if he only released that in the next 12 months, you go, oh my gosh, Lloyd Barnes is a genius. But I've seen some of the other stuff that he's working on. I've seen some of the other apps he's working on. I've seen some of the other projects he's involved in. Incredible, incredible. So Lloyd Barnes would definitely be up there, if not at the very top. Also, Scott Alexander. I love Scott Alexander's material. Sometimes when I'm doing a cabaret show, I feel like a Scott Alexander clone or a mini Scott Alexander. But I don't know if it's because his style and my style mesh, but I really like everything Scott Alexander puts out. He's the only person that I will drop hundreds of pounds on without kind of question, because even though his stuff is very expensive, I know it's going to be good. I think I'm going to put Henry Harrius in that list as well, because Henry Harrius is a great magician. I love all of his stuff that he puts out through his Worker series and through the Cube series. I think Henry's material is great, 100%. Dave Loosely. Dave Loosely is really, really good. I've never seen a bad Dave Loosely trick. He's one of these people that only puts good material out. Richard Sanders is another person who just puts out great material. He doesn't rush stuff to market. It's very rare that Richard puts something out, but when you do, you know it's going to be well thought out and you know it's going to be exceptional quality. Yeah, I mean, they're the people that... Oh, Greg Wilson. Greg Wilson is another guy that just puts out really good material, and you know that anything that Greg puts out is going to be great. I'm going to throw John Allen into the mix as well. John Allen puts some great stuff out. So I remember when I went to the London Magic Convention with Ryland. Ryland had never met John Allen before. And I brought Ryland over to John's stand. John demmed some stuff. Ryland had ended up buying Perfect Score and John's mystery box and a whole bunch of other stuff. And John's another really clever thinker when it comes to magic. He's a really clever thinker, and his destination box has made me more money as a stage magician than any other prop I've ever bought, including the big illusions. So there's a list. I'm sorry I couldn't just say one person. If I was going to say one person, it would be Lloyd Barnes, but I think everybody there deserves to be on that list. And by the way, great question. Okay, so the next question is by Hector Arias, and his question is, hi Craig, hi Hector. In case a trick fails completely and you know that there is no way to fix it because there are no more exits, what do? Do you admit that it's failed and just do another routine? Or do you think there are more options apart from admitting it's failed? Thank you. Okay, so that's a very interesting question, Hector. So first of all, I've talked on this channel in the past about always having an out. And what I mean by that, and I did a video on this, I think the video is called How to Make Sure That You Never Screw Up a Magic Trick, so you can go check that out. It was in the Magic Stuff playlist. And I talked about examining every single routine, thinking about every single routine and thinking about how that trick can go wrong, and then working out a solution beforehand, because people that are stressed tend to make bad decisions. So if you don't think through how a trick can go wrong, then what's going to happen is when it ultimately does go wrong, your mind's racing and going, what should I do, what should I do? But if you've already thought this through and you've already thought through how a trick can go wrong and you've come up with solutions to it, it becomes a less stressful situation, because now you're kind of thinking, well, hang on a minute, I've already thought this through. This is what I'm going to do. So I'm a big advocate in believing that you should always try to examine every routine you're going to perform in the real world and come up with outs to fix it, right? That's just a given. Having said that, there are things that you will never see coming. There are sometimes situations, it doesn't matter how much you examine it, it doesn't matter how much you try to come up with outs, sometimes you'll just get thrown a curveball. And in that case, you've got two situations. You've got two ways that you can deal with it. So the first way you can deal with it is to try and come up with an outcome that makes it successful on the fly. So I'll give you an example. I remember performing a cabaret once. It was for a family party. I say family party, it was a big Asian event. It was a first birthday party. And I was there doing a full cabaret show. It was really lavish. Like, they'd hired this huge hall. There were hundreds of people there. And I was doing this big thing on stage. And I was finishing with the no, I wasn't finishing with the destination box. I lie. No, I was. Who cares? I think I was finishing with the destination box. And if you don't know what the destination box is, or you haven't seen my routine on this channel, at the beginning of the show I give out a box. I have somebody on stage, I have them pick a signed card. At the end, they get the box back, they unlock the box, and when the box is unlocked, inside there is another box, and inside there is their signed card. And it's a great way to end the show. So I've got the box on stage, and the box, I got to the point where the box was on stage, I got the key, and the key snapped inside the lock. There was no way for me to unlock this box. There was no way for me to unlock this box. The key snapped inside the box. So what am I going to do? This is something that I never would have thought could happen, but it happened. The key snapped in the box. No way to unlock the box. So it was kind of like, I'm thinking, what should I do? And I was starting off by trying to have a hammer in the box, a real hammer, because I do Prop Dog's hammer throw gag, and so I got a real hammer and I was hammering the lock, and that was no good. And it was kind of like, okay, this is getting awkward now. I've got this person up on stage. I don't know what I'm going to do. So on the fly, I just thought, I'm in this big venue. I saw that the venue manager, who was a really nice guy, I met him on the way in, spoke to him a few times, he's a really nice guy. I kind of figured he's going to have access to some sort of hacksaw. So I pointed to a gentleman in the audience and I said, look, genuinely, his card is inside this box. I can't open up the padlock. So here's what I want you to do. You are now in charge of the box. You see that man over there? His name's John. He's the venue manager. What I want you to do is very quickly go with John. John, get a hacksaw that thing open, do whatever you have to do, get that box open, because that's my big finish. Can you do that for me? And I want you to go with him to make sure that he doesn't do anything sneaky, but don't open the box. I'm trusting you. Right, while that's happening, let's do something else with you. And I have backup routines in my case, and I think I went into Pop Hayden's linking ring routine. And by the time I finished Pop Hayden's linking ring routine, just on the button, this guy comes back in holding the box, and there's no padlock on there anymore. I was like, oh, brilliant! Let's give this gentleman a big round of applause. Bring the box up to me, and then I did the finale of the show, and everything was fine. That's very much thinking on your feet. That's very much in the spur of the moment. What am I going to do to fix this situation? And a lot of the time, you have to understand the audience doesn't know what's going to happen. I'm willing to bet that if you went and spoke to the audience in that show, they're going to think that that was all set up and it was part of the act, which it totally wasn't, but I think they're going to think that. So first of all, because the audience don't know what's going to happen, you have the ability to take the trick in a completely different direction. And the perfect example is the classic, I've actually lost the card in the deck, I don't know what it is. What was the name of your card? Really? I don't see it in here. Cull it to the back, palm. That's because I put it in my pocket. That was probably not the trick you're going to want to do, but it's the one that you've ended up doing, and the audience still find it impressive, even though that wasn't the trick. They don't know what the outcome of the trick was going to be in the first place. The second thing that you can do, if you can't think of a way out of it, and you can't blag or blag your way out of it, the other way to deal with it is just to just to laugh it off, to be honest. Now, this obviously depends on your character. If you're a Scott Penrose, for example, not that I'm saying anything negative about Scott Penrose, but Scott Penrose, if you've seen his act, he's the quintessential perfect magician. You know, things are happening and things are doing this, and it's all beautiful magic. It's all wonderful. If something went completely wrong, like his appearing cane just flopped or something, it would be very difficult for him to laugh it off because of his character, because of the style in which he presents his magic. He looks absolutely perfect. So if something wrong happened, he could laugh it off, but it would be a bit weird. Whilst with me, my whole attitude, if anyone's ever seen me perform on stage or perform close-up, you know that my whole attitude is, hey, I'm just here to have a laugh and do tricks. I was working with Richard Jones and Brendan Rodriguez and James Samuels at an amazing show last weekend. Absolutely amazing show. The fly has just been on my... where did that come from? That freaked me out. It was an amazing show. It was an absolutely wonderful show. And all three of them said, they'd never seen me perform on stage before. And they said, I just wasn't expecting that, because they knew me as like this coin guy and close-up guy and blah, blah, blah. And then I'm nothing like that on stage. Absolutely nothing like that on stage. I'm more of a comedy magician with the emphasis on comedy. And they were like, oh, that's amazing. We didn't see that coming a mile off. That was really, really great. The point I'm trying to make with this is my character would very much allow me, if something, it's very chaotic. My show is chaotic. Like Richard Jones, I was watching Richard Jones, incredible performer. I was watching him from the wings. Everything is scripted and rehearsed and just, he's got the music and he's hitting individual beats and it's just so slick. It's amazing. I see why he is in such demand as a performer, because it was just so slick. It was just so cool, and everything, nothing was left to chance. It was just brilliant. While I walk on stage and it just comes across as complete and total chaos. Like I have no idea what I'm doing, no idea where I'm going, no idea what's going to happen. So if a trick went completely wrong with my character, I would just laugh it off. I'd just say, oh, well, that's the first time that's happened again. Let's move on, shall we? Let's try and do something a little bit better. And I just, because people, when people come and watch my show, I want them to be entertained. Now, that might be through magic, that might be through comedy, it's completely up to them. As long as they walk away going, I'm entertained, that's the most important thing for me. So yeah, the other way to deal with it is just to laugh it off, but obviously it depends on your character. Somebody like Max Maven would struggle, to be honest. Although having said that, with mentalism, you know, there's always this question of, is it going to work? Is it not going to work? So you'd probably get away with it as a mentalist. The point I'm trying to make is A, always have an out. B, if you haven't got an out, try and blag it. C, if you can't blag it, laugh it off and move on. I remember a magician I used to work with many, many years ago, and he did sponge balls, and I saw him once, and they went, oh, it's in the other hand, and it was in the other hand. And he went, right, okay, I'll bet you 50 quid. I bet. And he got really aggressive with the person he was performing for, like really aggressive. And the guy was like, well, mate, I just think it's in the other hand. He's like, no, go on then. Put 50 quid down on the table, I'll open up my hand. And he kind of bluffed this guy into not wanting to take the bet, but it was just like really awkward, and it was like really confrontational, and he was meant to be an entertainer and ended up getting almost felt like he was going to get quite physical because the guy said it's in the other hand. You don't want to do that. People know that magic's not real. Well, it depends on the performer. There are performers out there that try to convince the audience that magic is real. I don't do that. Go down that route. I say to people, this isn't real. I just spent years in my bedroom shuffling my deck, and that means that I can do stuff that you guys probably can't. But having said that, you probably had friends when you were at school and I didn't, so it's a trade-off. And I just have fun with it, and I just have a laugh with it, and I just have a joke with it, and because of that, if a trick goes wrong, it's not the worst thing in the world, to be honest. I just move on and do a better trick that is going to work. Okay, so the next question is Baggy Burn. What a cool name. Baggy Burn says, hi Craig, how you doing? I'm very well. I've just started to get out there gigging, and last night I did a charity gig at a social club which had a DJ, but I found it pretty difficult because the music was very loud. I did ask a couple of times if the music could be turned down slightly, but it was still pretty difficult to hear, and very difficult to show 10 people at a table. How do you cope with this situation? Cheers. That's a great question. I mean, we're going into Christmas party season here in the UK, and Christmas party season is notorious for having incredibly loud DJs that play music very, very loud, and you're there trying to do magic and people cannot hear a word that you are saying. So how do you deal with this? And you're talking specifically about banquet situations. You're going to find yourself in this situation quite a lot over the course of your career. So the first thing is, you say that you asked a couple of times for the music to be turned down. That's never going to happen. Trust me, the music is more important than the magician. The music is more important than the magician. If the DJ is playing the music that loud, that's because the venue have asked him to play that music that loud. Now, a lot of the time when I'm taking a booking, I try to discourage people away from times where the music's going to be very loud. So when I'm getting booked for a wedding, for example, I'm going to try and encourage them to have photos or drinks reception or wedding breakfast, not the evening reception, because I know it's loud. And I'll say to them, what I do will work in a loud environment, but it's better if people can hear me and see me. Let me send you a video showing that. So sometimes this can be dealt with on booking and educating the clients. But a lot of the time, that's not the case. A lot of the time with Christmas party nights, you're just going to be there and it's going to be super loud. If the DJ is playing the music that loud, the client has asked them to play it that loud, and you are less important than the music. If the DJ did go, yeah, no problem, I'll turn it down for a couple of hours, the client would probably be annoyed, and the DJ knows the client's probably annoyed, because don't forget, he's there doing a job just like you're there doing a job. Just like you need to do your job properly, he needs to do his job properly. So he's never going to listen to you. You are the last person in the room that he's going to listen to. So if you're turning around to him and saying, can you turn it down? He's never going to turn it down. Never in a million years. So I wouldn't even try. And even if he did, you'd probably then have the venue getting annoyed with him and turn it back up again, and then he's going to say, oh, the magician asked me. It's just going to be a horrible situation. So I wouldn't try and go down that route. What I would do, if you find yourself in this situation, is just try and put together a list of routines and tricks in your act that you can do with very little speaking. And what I try to do when I go over to a table, I kind of go, hello, I'm the magician. I'm going to show you a trick. And they're just like, and then what I do is I go into it, and I try to do as much visual magic as I can that doesn't require talking. Fiber optics is a perfect example. They can see exactly what's happening from a distance. You don't need to speak. It all makes sense. Sponge balls you can do with very little speaking. There's certain routines that you can do where you don't even have to speak at all. Spooning around by Axel Hecklau, another perfect example. Doing an ambitious card routine where the card keeps coming to the top of the pack, another perfect example. There's a lot of routines, a lot of coin routines, coins across, three fly, coin vanishes, fingertip productions, jumbo coin stuff. All of this stuff are things that you can do for a table that don't require much talking. So put yourself together a list of routines that you can perform if you find yourself in this environment. And it's all about being prepared. You will find yourself in an environment like this again. This is not going to be the only time that this happens. So be prepared. Be prepared. It's the old 7P, isn't it? Proper preparation and planning prevent piss poor performance. You plan ahead. You work out what routines you're going to do, and you're going to work out how you're going to do your intro to the table. And, I saw somebody once in an environment like this, and he had huge cue cards that fit in his pocket, and he just held them up and he went, "Hello, I'm the magician. It's too loud to talk. Watch this." And then put them away, which is a really great idea. You could actually incorporate a card reveal into those if you wanted to, or there's probably a lot more you could do with those cue cards. But the point is, and also there's certain routines that you would normally do on stage that would work really well in this environment. I'll give you an example. So Duct Tape by Blake Voigt. If you don't know Blake Voigt's Duct Tape, go and check out blakevoigt.com. Look at Duct Tape. That's something that I never have, but that's something that I would absolutely do in a noisy environment, because the whole idea with duct tape is you come over to the table with your tape around your face, and ultimately the card is in the mouth. It's a bit like silent treatment, but totally different method. Silent treatment is another one that would work really well. You're not talking, you're just doing this, and they're reading it and they're following it. So think about routines that you can do that work in that environment, and think about how you're going to perform them to eliminate the patter in those. And then next time you go to a gig and it's like that, you know what to do. And also it's worth checking. Is there going to be a DJ? How loud is the DJ going to be? Does the music kick in later on? Or blah? All of this stuff. Be prepared. Know what you're getting into, and then you won't have too much of a problem. Okay, so the next question is from Lydia Foreman. Hi, Craig. Have you ever entered a competition? And if so, how did you build the act? Also, will you be interviewing Miles Thornton in the future? Thanks for the great content. Yes, I'm sure I will interview Miles Thornton in the future. Have I ever entered a competition? Yes. I've entered several of them. I haven't won all of them. I've won quite a few of them, but I haven't won all of them. And a lot of the ones that I entered that were really high profile, I didn't win, although I placed and did really well. Steve Della has beaten me more times than I care to admit. But yeah, I've entered and won several competitions in the past. I've entered and lost several competitions in the past. And I am actually doing a video on how to actually approach entering a competition, because I think that would be something that would be useful. I'm not going to go into as deep a dive of it as Steve Della does, because Steve Della, as I said earlier on Netrix, has got this incredible course on how to enter and win magic competitions, and he's way more experienced than me. But there's a lot of advice that I can give you as a brief overview. So I'm planning on doing that as a magic stuff coming up in the next few weeks. And I'm going to be talking about act building, and I'm going to be talking about act creation. I'm going to be talking about preparation for a competition as well. So check out that, have a look at that when it comes out. It's probably going to be before Christmas, to be perfectly honest. I'm not going to answer it here because it's probably going to take about half an hour, and there's certain people that might be interested, other people that might not. So we'll save it for the magic stuff, but it is coming. And if you want more advice on this subject, when you talk about an assumptive close, if you decide to subscribe to Netrix, the first thing you should check out is the competition advice by Steve Della. It's gold. Okay, so the next question is Chame Yu Sheng. And Chame says, "Hi Craig, great show. Thank you very much. When will your Alakazam magic releases be available through Murphy's and Penguin, etc.? They won't. Peter Nardi and Alakazam, they don't distribute through Murphy's or Penguin. So the only place that you can actually buy them is from Alakazam and a select small amount of dealers. There are certain dealers that Peter Nardi deals with that he wholesales directly to. You'll have to ask Alakazam who they are, but they do ship worldwide for free. But yeah, that's why Alakazam's releases are so exclusive, because they don't go out through all the magic shops. So when you get an Alakazam trick, there's a lot of people who maybe haven't had it. I've bought out 2 tricks for Alakazam, which is the Cy Stebbins project and Gossip, and I've got a few more coming out over the coming weeks and months. But the only place you can get it is Alakazam or their sister company, Alakazam Magic USA. Outside of that, There are certain dealers, but it's best to go directly through Alakazam. They do ship worldwide, but you're not going to find them in Murphy's. You're not going to find them in Penguin. Okay, so the next question is from Kai, Country Boy Martial Artist. Hey Kai, Country Boy Martial Artist. Ever thought about trying to re-release the Mirage coin set? It's not something that's on my agenda. If there's a magic card, I thought the Mirage coin set was brilliant. I love it. I still do it. I've got a custom Mirage coin set that I do all the time. The Matrix on there is my favorite Matrix routine that I've ever created. And the stuff you can do with the Mirage coin set is brilliant. If there is a magic producer out there that wants to re-release the Mirage coin set, I do have updated routines and handlings, and I think it would be a really cool thing to re-release. But it's not something I've pitched to anybody. It's not something I've ever considered. It's not a cheap set. It's quite expensive because of the gaffs that are involved in it. So maybe at some point down the line, but it's not on my agenda, to be perfectly honest. Okay, so the next question is by the Fess, and he says, hey Craig, got another question for you. Have you heard of Quiver by Kelvin Chow? As I know you're a big coin guy, I wanted to know if you use it and if you have it, or if you're planning on reviewing it at one point. Thanks, Dan. You know what? I'll probably do a review on a 5x5. It came out way before I started Magic TV, so it's probably not current enough to do on the Craig and Ryland review show. But yeah, man, for sure, I do Quiver. I've probably got 4 or 5 Quivers. I absolutely love Quiver. And I've got a few different uses. In fact, let me know. Is there anybody here who's interested in seeing a hows and whys of Quiver? Because I've got some very interesting, unique and different applications to Quiver that haven't been touched on by anyone before. And the stuff that I do with it is quite unique, and I'd be more than happy to do a hows and whys on the Quiver. Let me know if that's something you're interested in. I might do a review on it on a 5x5 moving forward. Anybody who's watching this, it's an incredible, incredible device. It's well worth buying. There's so much you can do with it. And it's very, very clever. But if anybody wants to see like a hows and whys of the Quiver, please let me know. Okay, so the next question is by Mick. Right, what have we got here? This is a long one. Hi Craig, can I run an idea past you and get your views on a routine I'm working on? As you know, Cognito has added an any card at any number, which is great. Yes, it is. If you're not a Cognito user, Lloyd Barnes has put on there an ACAM, which is brilliant. But I have been doing some work with an M deck. I think you mean a mem deck, right? And using it with the Chaos Peak. And I also have a standard deck in the same order as the M deck. Okay. I think he means mem deck. So if the standard deck's in the same order as the M deck, that means that you've got 2 mem decks. M is an M deck something else? I think it means mem deck. Basically, the act is we go through the Chaos Peak. Okay, so now you know what the card is because the Chaos Peak. And then we both deal our deck face down to the chosen card. At which point I say stop and I instruct them to do the reveal. The M deck I'm using is the code. Oh, okay. M deck is mark deck. Right, okay, hang on. Right, let me just read this back again. Okay, mark deck code is Andy Nyman's mark deck, isn't it? Right, okay, let me try this again. So I've been doing some work with mark deck and been using it with the Chaos Peak, and I also have a standard deck in the same order as the mark deck. Right, okay. So you have 2 decks, mark deck, regular deck. Basically, the act is we go through the Chaos Peak, so you both know what the card is, and then we deal our cards face down to the chosen card, at which point I say stop and instruct them to do the reveal. The mark deck I'm using is the code. I just find this really powerful tool when using alongside Cognito compared to the traditional ACAN. Have you got any tips or thoughts or tried anything with a mark deck alongside Cognito? I'm really rubbish when it comes to marked cards. The only marked deck I use is Steve Della's Night Flight deck. And by the way, the new Night Flights, the red ones, I got a chance to play with them the other day. Oh my God, they are good. I'm going to review them at some point soon. But I only use those cards. And to be honest, I've not really done that much because up until very recently, I just wasn't able to use marked cards. Like my eyes are dreadful. And because up until recently, I've never really kind of studied marked decks. I'm very well read with most things when it comes to Magic, but with marked cards, it's something that I've not really spent much time thinking about, and maybe that's on me. So I haven't really tried anything with a marked deck alongside Cognito. I could put my head together and think of some bits and pieces, to be perfectly honest. I am thinking about doing a hows and whys of Cognito. I mean, the routine that you're talking about here sounds really good. So in other words, you do the Chaos reveal, and then you deal the cards face down, and you get them to say stop. You say stop, because obviously you know where the card is, so they say stop. And then when you do, you turn it over. You don't need a marked deck for that though, do you? Like if you learnt mnemonica, you could do that with mnemonica, because obviously you're going to know the position of every card in the deck. So if you use mnemonica, you don't need a marked deck. You could even do it without looking. Instead of you dealing through a deck of cards, unless I'm getting this wrong, Mick, because you're dealing through a deck of cards, they're dealing through a deck of cards, you say stop and you turn the cards over and it matches the card they've peeked. I don't think you dealing through the cards adds anything. I know you've got that coincidence moment, but it just kind of says to them that the card's in the same order. So unless you're doing some very, very convincing full shuffles at the beginning, maybe it might not add anything. I like the idea of doing that, but what I would do maybe is do the chaos peak. You're using that way you don't even need to worry about the marked deck. You've just got a deck in mnemonica. So you're doing the chaos peak, and then you say to them, what I want you to do is think of your card, and I want you to deal cards onto the table, and I'm going to try and get an impression. I want you to just stop when I say stop. And what you're doing is you're doing a gypsy peek. So you're apparently looking out the way, but you can see the cards as they go down on the table. So you're doing this gypsy peek and you're just counting. So if they say, I don't know, 3 of spades, you know it's the 21st card. So you know that they're dealing. And when they get to the 20th card, you go stop. And then you go, think about this for a minute. You thought over card. You haven't told anyone, you haven't written it down. You then dealt through the cards. I'm getting an impression right here. What was the name of your card? 3 of spades. Turn it over, 3 of spades. That way, because laymen aren't stupid. They understand what a marked deck is. And so I think that when even though I don't do much with marked cards, I do understand that when you do something with a deck of marked cards, it needs to hide the method, if that kind of makes sense. And I don't see what the second deck is adding to this routine, unless I'm missing something. If I'm missing something, I completely apologize. And again, this is just my opinion, but I don't see how the second deck is adding anything. I would streamline that right down. I think there's too many props in play. I'd just have one card, I just have one deck, and I'd have one deck, and I'd do the chaos peak, have them do the gypsy thing, and then stop them and turn the card over. The other thing that you could do is, if you've got a deck on display, if you wanted to, and it's a mem deck, and it's in a particular order, which you say it is you could, I'm just thinking this through at the top of my head. So you could get them to deal down. You know it's in the 21st position. It's the 3 of spades, for example. So you get them to deal down. You say stop, and you take the cards off them. You know that card there is their card, and you do a top palm. So you do a one-handed top palm, and you say, was that your card? And they go, no. And you go, okay, sorry. And you take the deck back. So now you've done a one-handed top palm. So now they deal through the rest of the cards, and the card they're thinking of isn't even in the deck. So in other words, you're stealing that card out in quite a natural way. You say, look, you're looking for your card. Tell me when you see your card. Stop, hang on a second. Have you seen your card yet? No, you haven't? Okay, take that back. Keep looking. And then you could have like a card in envelope in wallet. So you could say, hey, well, I took one card out of the deck at the very beginning. You only thought of a card. One card's missing. You dealt through the deck yourself. I've had this wallet here from the very beginning. There's an envelope in the wallet. Rip the envelope open. That's the card. I removed it from the deck before you even thought of a card. So that's kind of the route that I go down with that, if that kind of makes sense. But if I'm missing the point, I don't think you need 2 decks. If I'm missing the point, let me know. Okay, so the next question is from Horace Hernandez, and he says, hey Craig, got another great video, thank you. I was wondering if you could help me make a decision. I've been practicing a lot of material by you and Eric Jones, and I've been wanting to upgrade my flipper coin. Right now I have my eye set on Bob Swaddling's Triception coin set and the Schoolcraft OXF set. Could you help me understand the difference between these 2 flippers, and if the OXF set is worth the price jump? Thank you. Look, I've talked about this on the channel before. They are both really good, and they really are. I would go with Schoolcraft. If you can afford Jamie Schoolcraft, his coins are the leading coins in the world. There is nobody who does coin gaffs better than Jamie Schoolcraft. If you can afford to go with Jamie, go with Jamie. I'm not saying anything about Mark Mason. His coins are great, and you will have, and I have a lot of Mark Mason coins, and I always appreciate the quality. However, if you can afford it, go with Jamie, because his coins are so much better. And the OXF set is great. There's a lot you can do with it. There really is. I don't really want to go into the differences because that would involve discussing the routines with Mark's product, and part of what you're buying with his set are the routines, because the OXF doesn't come with routines, does it? I'm pretty sure it doesn't come with routines. But if you've studied mine and Eric Jones's material, you're going to have a ton of stuff that you can do with flippers. You know, the only two people you're missing out from the flipper world there is Dean Deal, Troy Hooser. That's it. So, you know, I would personally go with the OXF set if you can afford it, but I don't want to say anything negative about the Triception coin set, because Bob Swadling, Mark Mason, they do some incredible stuff. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. You're not going to go wrong with either product, to be honest. Okay, so the final question today is about the podcast I mentioned last week, and I have had like literally 7 or 8 people here say to me, oh, the podcast that you mentioned last week sounds exciting. When's it going to launch? Is it going to be the 1st of December like you said? Well, in answer to your question, yes, it will be the 1st of December. And yes, I can confirm that Lloyd Barnes is going to be doing the podcast with me. In fact, we are so excited about this concept that is not even going to be branded under Magic TV. It is going to be a separate thing. So it is going to be called The Magic Podcast. Hopefully by the time you read this or watch this, we're actually going to have a website for it as well. We've already got a logo. This is the logo. It's very cool. So we've already got a logo. Lloyd designed the logo. I think it's amazing. I think it's one of the best logos ever. And both myself and Lloyd have got really big plans with this podcast. We are going to be branding it completely separately to anything he does. We're going to be branding it completely separately to the Talk Magic podcast that goes up as part of Magic TV. It's not going to be part of Magic TV. It's not going to be part of Talk Magic. It's not going to be part of Murphy's Magic. I had a question saying, Lloyd works for Murphy's Magic. Is it going to be part of Murphy's Magic? It's got nothing to do with Murphy's Magic. It's got nothing to do with anything else that Lloyd or myself are doing. We have put this whole podcast together. It is going to be a separate thing. It's going to be every single Wednesday at 9 o'clock, and we have some really super exciting stuff planned on this podcast. So when the website goes live, go subscribe to the podcast. The first episode is going out on Wednesday, and I'm going to be talking about a lot of stuff. It's going to be a lot of current stuff. So the thing with Magic TV is it's not always current. I try to make it current, but sometimes, like, videos are shot weeks before and we're just putting them out when we think it's appropriate. The only current thing is really the Q&A, because I filmed that on a week-by-week basis. Even the reviews sometimes are shot 3 or 4 weeks ago. If it's a new hot product, we'll film a review show specifically for that. But a lot of the time, it's not current. This is going to allow us to talk about stuff that's actually happening in the Magic community. And because it's not branded to anything I'm doing and anything that Lloyd's doing, we're not going to hold back 100%. We are going to be completely and totally honest about everything we're talking about. It is going to be incredible. Lloyd is super creative, and I think that him and I work well together on camera as well. So yeah, I cannot wait. I cannot wait. Somebody said, are you going to do interviews? No, that's what Talk Magic's there for. If you want interviews, go check out the Talk Magic podcast. This is going to be me and Lloyd chatting shit, and I am super excited about it. It's going to happen. It's Wednesday, next Wednesday, 1st of December. It's the first podcast. Make sure you check it out. It's going to be awesome. Okay, so I've got one more comment that I want to address, and this is from Magic Talk Live. And he says, I interviewed Dan Rhodes on Tuesday, by the way, and I interviewed him for 2 reasons. I did a rant on him about a year ago because of obviously exposing stuff on TikTok, and I don't like that aspect of what he does, and he has toned it down. I am aware that that's still there. However, I've had more people want me to interview Dan Rhodes than any other magician. He has gone from 0 subscribers to 7 million subscribers in the space of a few months. He's now being booked by huge brands all over the world. By any definition, he is one of the most successful social media magicians in the world. And I think he's very relevant at the moment, which is why I wanted to interview him and talk about his reasoning behind everything. And he was very open and talked about TikTok growth and YouTube growth. And I found the whole thing fascinating. Do I have to agree with everything he does? No. And I've made it very clear in the past that I don't agree with everything he does. However, I know that he's toned it down, and I still think that people should listen to his story. And also, the fact is, he's 18 years old. He's achieved a great deal, more than most magicians could ever dream of. And he's very, you have to say, wow, I mean, my hat's off to you. And I think magicians can learn from this. And I absolutely took some things home that I'm going to be changing about this YouTube channel based on what Dan said. Anyway, there's this guy called Magic Talk Live, or Magic Talk Live. And he says, how do you interview somebody whose claim to fame is exposing magic tricks on TikTok? That's not his claim to fame. Go check out his content. His claim to fame is not exposing magic tricks on TikTok. Yeah, he's done a little bit of that. But if I only interviewed people who, at the end of the day, he has achieved more in magic than you could even dream of. And he said, you'll have anyone on your channel for views now. You're sad. And I said, I do this for views. Are you having a laugh? I spent hours producing free content for this channel to try and help magicians. It would be easier if I didn't and I focused more time on running my companies. It'd be more beneficial for me. I get nothing out of running Magic TV. More people have asked for a full interview with Dan than any other magician, so I listened and delivered. Who do you think you are to come on my channel and call me sad and accuse me of just wanting views? You don't know me. And he says, lol, your comment is just sad. And I think he's a bit obsessed with me because he then says, Craig has given this kid a platform to talk. No respect for the craft. Right, I'm not bringing back rants, but let me tell you something. And I want to listen to what I've got to say. First of all, you don't like the stuff that I put on my channel, and the simple solution is go, leave, don't let the door hit you in the way out. And also, if you're going to make a point, don't be an idiot about it. First of all, I've given Dan Rhodes a platform to talk. Are you a complete and total muppet? Are you a complete and total muppet? Think about what you're saying. This is a kid who's got a YouTube channel with 7 million subscribers and is adding tens of thousands of subscribers every single day. This is a kid who's got millions of followers on TikTok, and I'm giving him a platform to talk. He doesn't need my channel. He doesn't need my 8,000 subscribers. If he wants to talk, he can post one video on his YouTube channel and get more views in 5 minutes than I probably will in the whole week. So no, I haven't given him a platform to talk. What I have done is done what I always do on this channel, which is deliver the content that people want to see. So many people have asked for a proper interview with Dan Rhodes. They had a lot of respect for him after the rant I did and how he conducted himself, and they wanted an interview on him. Just so you know, Magic Tricks Live, or whatever the hell your name is, this channel is not set up for you. It is not set up for you. It's set up for every single person that's watching it. And just so you know, I will do anything for views. No, I won't. This channel isn't about me getting views. I couldn't give 2 hoots whether I get views or not. That's not what this is about. This is about me spending hours and hours and hours producing free content for magicians on every single aspect of magic so that they can get what they need to get so that they can improve. And you know what? There's 1,000 million kids out there that love magic, that got into magic because of people like Dan Rhodes and James Samuels and Neil Henry and people like that are now into magic, and they enjoy magic and they watch magic because of people like that. The people that you slag off, the people that you say are bad for our art form, they have done more for magic than you will, bitching and moaning and crying into your computer screen because you're not happy. These people like Dan Rhodes have done more for magic than you ever will. There are people that are now in magic, that are buying magic tricks, that are invested in the magic community, that found out about magic because of one of Dan Rhodes' TikToks, or one of Dan Rhodes' shorts, or one of Dan Rhodes' videos. So no, what he's doing is he's bringing people into magic. Now, I know there's going to be people out there and going, well, magic should be inclusive and not everyone should be getting into magic. Well, I disagree with that as well. Who are we to lock the doors? Anybody can get into magic. It is not your job to protect magic. It is not my job to protect magic. If people want to get into magic and they want to learn magic, that's great. They might stick around, they might leave. But it's not up to you or me or anybody else to stop them. And as for me wanting to do this this channel for views, you get that I could go and spend one day in my office instead of sitting here filming content, and I could get more out of it in every single way. I could get more income, I could get more profit. I could go out and do one gig instead of sitting here filming this. I could go out and do one gig and be in a better situation than sitting here for hours answering questions from people like you. Have some goddamn respect. Don't come onto my channel and call me sad. You don't like this channel, you don't like how I do things, then the simple solution is to go and set up your own channel, because you know, you've got that name, haven't you? Talk Magic Live, you've got your 4 subscribers, so you're well on the way. Maybe the fact is, Dan Rhodes has got 7 million subscribers and you've got 4 and you're jealous, bitter and twisted. I don't know. I don't do the rants anymore, but if I did do the rants, I would tell you that that's probably what the situation is here. All I know is I have had so many people ask me to interview Dan Rhodes, and that is what I have done. And when I have someone come onto my channel and when I interview them, I am not going to put them into a situation where they feel uncomfortable. That's not fair. I'm not going to do that. With the rant that I did on Dan Rhodes, that's what I did. I had people say to me, you had Patrick Wolford come on the channel. Why don't you talk about the quality control when it comes to Murphys? Well, we touched on that, but you know what? Patrick came onto my channel. A lot of people have been wanting to see an interview with him. He's never done an interview before. I wanted an interview with somebody at Murphys, so you guys, I thought that you'd find it interesting, which you have. A lot of people want an interview with Dan Rhodes. I've got other people coming onto this channel that I'm interviewing, and I'm probably going to get my ethics called into question. Oh, why are you having this person on the channel? Because this channel is about providing content for magicians that they will find interesting. I want this channel to be the sort of channel that I would have watched when I first got into magic, but it never existed. And you want to turn around to me and tell me I'm sad and I'm pathetic because I just had somebody on the channel that I interviewed and I didn't call them out? Here's an idea. Why don't you take your opinions, crumple them up into a little ball, throw them out the door, oh, and by the way, you walk out and don't let the door hit you on the way out. So there you go. That's about as closest to a rant as you're ever going to get on this channel ever again. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the Q&A. Thank you very much for all the wonderful questions. Remember, the Q&A lives and dies by the type of questions you ask. If you want to have a question answered, it's very simple. Leave it in the comments down below. Don't forget to check out the Craig Petty and Lloyd Barnes podcast. It's called The Magic Podcast. It's going up on Wednesday at 9 o'clock. And also, don't forget, you want to see more videos like this video, subscribe to this channel. And I'm going to be back again on Monday with 3 videos. I'm going to have a 9 o'clock. I'm going to have a 5x5. 2 o'clock is a short. 6 o'clock is a Magic Live. And also, please, please, please don't forget that tonight at 9 o'clock I've got a review show special, and I'm going to be doing it on Jay Sankey and SankeyMagic.com. See you at 9 o'clock. Thanks very much for watching. My name's Craig from Magic TV.